welcome to Coach's Decision, a weekly sports talk show that covers topics from the Bay Area and beyond. My name is Thomas Todd. I am joined here in the KSCO studio today. Winter break forever! It's Chad Oklin-Jolin. How you doing, buddy?
Thanks for that intro, Thomas.
Anytime, man. So you're on winter break from school.
Yes.
And so you hit me up and said, dude, give me a spot.
Yeah, pretty much. I was that demanding, I think.
You are demanding.
I hope so.
I appreciate that about you. You're going to demand your way right into a real sports job someday.
Hope so. That's the plan.
Good. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Odell Beckham on the top of the show. We'll preview Cavs, Warriors. We'll bring my buddy Danny on to talk about some baseball, some Giants-specific, and some national. Then we'll do our NFL picks, and maybe if we have time, get into a little bowl game action. Because, Chad, you went to a bowl game, right?
Yeah, I went to the Auto Nation Cure Bowl.
Now, why the heck would you do that?
Covered it for San Jose State. Got to go there for the home team. Someone had to root for him.
That makes sense. Your Spartan pride, Spartan power. Okay, that makes sense. I was a high school Spartan, so.
Oh, really? What high school? Sorry.
Grace M. Davis in Modesto.
There you go. Okay.
Definitely Spartan pride, and I'm a Michigan State fan because of that. Not a San Jose State fan.
It's okay. You know, San Jose State doesn't have the glory that Michigan State does.
You know, Tom Izzo a better coach, I think.
Just a little bit.
San Jose State has to offer.
Tad bit.
A not so good coach because he can't control his star player. Tom Coughlin cannot seem to keep Odell Beckham Jr. under wraps. The Carolina Panthers got in his head on Sunday something fierce. They brought a bat out onto the field before the game. There's reports of anti-gay slurs being thrown his way. And then he just erupted during the game. Not once, not twice, 3 times.
Yeah, it was ugly.
3 personal foul penalties. He taunted Norman at one point, which wasn't flagged. At one of those personal fouls because he used his head as a weapon against Norman's face mask and helmet. What happened? And is that 1-game suspension justified? Because it was upheld today by the NFL.
I think the 1 game's definitely justified. I don't like that they didn't give Norman the one game as well.
Oh, really?
Just because you can't say Odell wouldn't have done that if Norman wasn't on the field and vice versa. So it's kind of like it doesn't seem fair to eject one when not the other because you know Norman might have gotten baited into it by Odell, but Odell finished the job, whatever it may have been. Seems like both sides were definitely guilty.
See, I think that he's guilty of getting in his head and smack talking, and whatever he did, with those individual words that he used, we can't really parse out. But what he did physically was nothing.
That's true, and that is, I think there's more shines back on the management of the Giants. I don't remember who said, I read it in an article. Makes perfect sense, though. Everyone on the Giants just seems like they're a fan of Odell. And that really shows true when you let your star player go out and do that, because that's just, it doesn't shine good on him, definitely, nor on your whole entire organization.
Well, he's the most special position player they've had since, like, Plaxico Burress. And he may already be better than Plaxico Burress ever was. So you'd have to go back to something like Phil Simms or, like, who's the best Giants skill position player in the last 30 years? Like, there's nobody. But, yeah, I can't blame Josh Norman for that because I watched the physical altercation. Mostly it was Norman trying to get up because Odell had thrown him to the ground and Norman just rolls over and tries to get up and maybe throws a swing on his way out. But, yeah, I think ODB needs to get himself under control, and I'm just disappointed to see another wide receiver who can't keep his act together. You know, Des Bryant struggled for so long. We got T.O., Chad Oklin-Jolin. We have all these guys that have struggled. Steve Smith in retirement still can't keep his mouth shut. So it's like I'm just tired of prima donna wide receivers.
Yeah, you know, it took me back at least a couple of years to the last one of these we had between Finnegan and Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
That happened a couple of years ago. It wasn't quite the same because those two just seemed like they just duked it out and started swinging.
Yeah, it looked like a hockey fight. Like you were just waiting for like the right moment. Like, okay, the face-off happened, time to fight.
Yeah, that was really funny. And you know, we sit here and laugh at it, but at the time that was a huge deal. Andre Johnson was one of the elite receivers, as is Odell Beckham. And I think something that Odell has to realize is that I don't think realizes yet is that he is one of, you know, I would put him top 3 right there next to Antonio Brown as far as best receivers in the league. So when you're the best receiver in the league, 1, you're going to be the number 1 on the opponent's depth chart to stop because they want to stop you, take out their biggest weapon. And 2, you're going to be the target of all that trash talk, all that animosity. It's going to go towards you because they know if they get in your head and get under your skin, it affects their team the most.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
So it's just Odell, I mean, for lack of a better term, he needs to grow up. He needs to figure out that he's got a lot more to play for than the name on the back of his jersey. And it's not about the pride if the Giants win. And if he was focused on that, I think they might have a couple more wins this year.
Wasn't Coughlin the ultimate disciplinarian? Wasn't he the guy who's like, if you're on time, you're late, don't act this way? They always had that really solid offensive line of like 5 obnoxious white guys who all were like the most team-oriented people in the entire world. Like, what happened to the Giants' reputation? Because they would be 10-2 this season or like 10-3 this season if the game had ended 90 seconds before it did.
They let Odell get away. That's really the only logical explanation I can come to is, he is good. He is a talent that maybe comes by once, twice in a generation of receiver that's that good. Megatron's the only other one that comes to mind for the immediate time being. But, you have that kind of talent, and sometimes I feel like he just Tom Coughlin just let him get too big for his own shoes. And when you have those expectations, you can't really fill them.
Yeah, okay. In that game, the Panthers do win. So Odell Beckham scores the game-tying touchdown. Tons Norman, blah, 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 is really excited. You knew with 52 seconds left that Panthers were going to drive down and get a field goal. That's just what Cam Newton does this season. I don't know if that's sustainable for the rest of his career, but right now he's in automatic score mode. When they need a score, he gets it, and that's a reason why they're 14-0. Was the Giants the biggest challenge, or were the Giants the biggest challenge, or do you see the Bucs and Falcons doing anything?
I don't see them doing anything unless they don't start starters, which, is a very, it happens every year, it seems like. I remember the year the Patriots almost won it. They beat the Cardinals miraculously in the last week with all their bench players playing. But it's going to be interesting, and, I personally don't see them going undefeated. I really don't.
I've been saying that every week all year. Now
they're still not that good. Like I still don't think that the Panthers are that exceptional. And they don't have a receiver. Who do they have? Kelvin Benjamin before the year, you said okay, but he went down preseason.
I think I saw a headline on ESPN, Gin and Juice.
There you go.
Ted Ginn, man.
Dude, it's just Ted Ginn didn't work here, and I works for. It's interesting with them. It's the defense. It's Luke Kuechly. It's Thomas Davis. That's going to carry them quite a long way.
You say it's the defense. They're scoring over 30 points a game.
It's going to be the defense.
Okay.
Let me rephrase, because if they win, if they do this, it's not going to be because of Cam Newton. You could have put a serviceable quarterback in there, and they might not have gone undefeated, but they would have had just as good of a team because that defense is just such a game changer. It's like the Niners defense from a few years ago, where, we played the field position game every single possession because we knew the defense was going to get them to either 3 and out, maybe, 1 first down. But being able to count on the defense like that takes all the pressure in the world off of Cam Newton. And I think that speaks untold numbers on what his statistics end up being before the season's over.
And he doesn't even want the pressure off. He's embraced it. He's just run with it completely.
I don't think I've ever met a more charismatic quarterback. Not that I've met him, but you know what I mean.
You can just throw that out there.
Yes.
All right, one more thing to do before we hit our first sponsorship break. Cavs at Warriors Christmas Day. Color me excited. I'm going to call my mom as soon as this show is over and say, Mom, Christmas Day, when we're doing dinner, it's going to be built around the Cavs-Warriors game because there's a lot of good NBA that day, but I clearly want to see a healthy Kyrie and the Cavs get shut down by the Golden State Warriors and the baby-faced assassin.
It's so funny to me watching, after the Cavs or the Heat won the title with LeBron, it's, they're the greatest team. They're may be the best team since the Showtime Lakers, this and that. And then the Warriors win it. Oh, they got lucky. No one got hurt. They're not that good. They're going to be bad next year. Then they start out 24-0.
25-0.
And they're still not getting respect. They lose one game and all of a sudden, are the Spurs right there with them? Only 5 games back.
Well, people were just exhausted from talking about the Warriors. I understood why they tried to transition into the Spurs because the Spurs have been great, but they lost a bunch of games.
They're not the Warriors.
The problem is they're going to coalesce into a really good unit, and Popovich isn't pushing for a high win total. He's got some fragile old stars.
He just needs to get in the playoffs.
And he's still working in one of the best players in the NBA to his offense. LaMarcus Aldridge wasn't a clear fit for what the Spurs were doing at the time. Now he is, because Pop has built a system around him where he can take his jump shots and where he can get rebounds and where Tim Duncan can still play, for some reason, first-team type defense, which makes no sense because he's 100.
Yeah, Tim Duncan is one of the most – I read a stat that Tim Duncan has missed less games in his NBA career than Derrick Rose has missed in the last season and a half.
That's ridiculous.
Or something to that extent. extent over an 20-year career, which is he's just Mr. Reliable.
He's going to fossilize out there. He's going to go up for a block one day, and he's just going to get stuck, and that's just where he is. And they're going to have to build a new stadium or just make him start and finish every game and just have him be a statue/defender.
God, that would be great. He's just a silent giant. He's easily the quietest, most humble superstar in all of the four sports.
And the only guy to ever be thrown out of a game for laughing.
That was awesome. You look at his 2 technicals, and the one technical that he got was for a full team technical, and then the other one was that. So funny with Tim Duncan.
His eyes bugging out of his skull when he got thrown out. I'll never forget. That was the funniest thing I'd seen.
My favorite video of him is when he realizes he has arms. I don't know if you've seen that video, but it's just him coming out of a timeout, looking at his arms, realizing he touches them, and he's all bewildered. And it's Tim Duncan, endless comedy out of him.
Like an NBA Jam player that just went like off fire. Like, oh, what was that? I never felt that before. So let's technically preview this game. Doesn't matter that Kyrie may not be 100% because Harrison Barnes isn't 100%, and Kevin Love's going to be in this game, and that was the major complaint. Kyrie and Love being out for the finals. So if the Cavs do win, do they gain a mental edge in this game?
I think they do, just because, these are the teams that could be playing down the road in April, May.
And the teams that will be playing
when it really matters, because who's going to stand in the Cavs' way? I mean...
Not Chicago.
Nobody.
Not Miami.
I mean, the only team...
Not one, not two, not three.
Not talent. Well, I mean, the only team that comes to mind, maybe if they were developed, is the Wizards, but that's way down the road.
See, I would say the Pacers, just because Paul George is good on D, and he's having such a great offensive season.
Yeah, so no one's going to challenge them. I mean, it'll be a tough draw for the Warriors. They're going to have to go through the Clips and the Spurs and whoever else they're going to have to play.
Or maybe the Clips and Spurs will play in the first round again. And the Warriors will get lucky again.
Yeah, and they only had to play the Grizzlies, who I thought matched up against the Warriors best of the whole entire league with their 2 big men. But this game, I don't think it's going to make a difference with Kyrie. I think it'll cancel out having Kevin Love back. And, the Warriors aren't 100% either. Not having Harrison Barnes throws a stick in their plan because they like being able to have that star-studded second attack coming off the bench.
Is he going to play?
I haven't heard.
I haven't either. I've been trying to kind of backdoor look. It's hard to find information on stuff like that.
I hear questionable, and that doesn't tell you anything.
Exactly.
So that helps.
It was questionable. That's why I questioned.
Yeah, that's why
I asked.
You can't answer my question with a question.
It's like they're like Buddhist monks when you ask them a question and they ask you a question. It's like, well, what am I doing here?
I'm not trying to get philosophy here. I'm trying to figure it out. I just want to know if he's playing or not.
It's going to be on your headstone.
Fantasy basketball. Okay, I need to know.
Here lies Chad Oklin-Jolin. I'm not trying to get philosophy here. Well, that's great. We're going to watch that game. I'm really excited about that. We're going to break for our first sponsor, which is 99 Bottles, located in downtown Santa Cruz on Walnut between Pacific and Cedar. 99 Bottles is one of my favorite places in town. I love to go down there, have a nice beverage. If I'm hungry, full bar menu, sandwiches, salad, basically anything. I love the waffle fries. I bring those up every week. But you can also catch a sports game there. They'll have the Warriors game on in the background behind their wall of taps. They have a big TV upstairs. They can play soccer matches on Saturday mornings. A lot of people go there to watch football on Sunday. They're very diverse. They're very welcoming. Bring your dog. They have a small patio section where your dog can watch other dogs walk by, which I think is a dog's favorite thing to do. You like dogs, right, Chad?
Oh, dogs are my favorite thing.
I think so. Yeah, poor women. But yeah.
At least they're always happy when you get home, though, right? I mean, dogs, not the women part. See, that's where they're different.
When I get home, they have dinner on the table. No, that never happens. I live alone. But yeah, 99 Bottles. All right, so we're going to go ahead and bring on our favorite guest, my buddy from college, the biggest Giants fan I know, the biggest man I know, Daniel Zarchi. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. So we have some Giants stuff to talk about. And, Chad, feel free to weigh in on this stuff because I value your opinion. Let's start with the Cardinals, though, because they signed Mike Leake. 5 years, $80 million to shore up the middle to back end of their rotation. And looking at the contract, it's exactly what the Giants gave Jeff Samardzija. Who got the better deal, or did both teams get a good deal?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the question is, which guy do you want? Because they do different things. Jeff Samardzija they both pitch. Jeff Samardzija has the upside of being one of the best pitchers in the league. And that's why he got paid $10 million more than Mike Leake. But Mike Leake has an extremely high floor because, he's going to go out there, probably not strike anybody out, but not give up home runs, not give up too many runs, put the ball in play. And for a team like the Cardinals, which, have a really good infrastructure built up around him, he's kind of exactly who they're looking for when they've got a bunch of superstars who are hurt and stuff like that. But for the Giants, who really need, a right-handed Madison Bumgarner, who need another really strong guy coming in at the top of their rotation, and they're willing to take the gamble, then that's why you'd want Jeff Samardzija.
But why wouldn't the Cardinals want to gamble? I mean, are they just that much of a pitching machine that they can just take league average production and maybe squeeze a little bit more out of him than any other team would?
Well, I mean, that's kind of what we think of the Cardinals, is that somehow they just keep generating arms who can throw 100 miles an hour, or, scrappy outfielders who can hit 300 with 25 homers.
Yeah, how do they do that? Where do guys like Piscotty come from? What the heck is a Piscotty?
Yeah.
Does it have almonds in it?
They had one of the best outfield prospects in a long time die in an unfortunate accident in his home country, and then, the farm system was just as good as ever. I mean, as tragic as that was.
Randall Grichuk? What's a Randall Grichuk? I've still been trying to figure that out.
Yeah, so you got, you have, I think it's Grichuk.
Grichuk?
I think, you have Grichuk and Piscotty both come up. Maybe that's how I was pronouncing it in my head. Both come up and play really well when they lost Matt Holliday, and they lost, production at the corners at various points throughout the year because they faced a lot of injuries. And, they all played really well, and then they got hurt. But, that's just kind of what the Cardinals did last year.
Okay, end of the day, which pitcher do you want?
Samardzija.
Chad?
I mean,
I take Samardzija just because of the upside. You know what you're going to get with Leake, and he's going to be a number 3-4 starter tops, and Samardzija has the opportunity to be a 2, definitely a 3 on this team.
Danny?
Well, the Giants have a lot of mid-rotation pitchers. I mean, that's everyone they have are people who are worthy of being a 3, 4, 5. And that's kind of who they have in the minors right now, or 3, 4, and 5s. It would take, a real confluence of events for some of the guys down there to end up being top of the rotation talent.
That's the name of Baggerly's next book, by the way, A Confluence of Events.
The perfect storm.
That's already a book, I think.
Well, yeah, this one's happier at the end.
Okay, this is when we do our deep dive on the Giants, because they are doing some fun math to get Ryan Vogelsong on the Wall of Fame. So I was reading about this. The requirements to be on the San Francisco Giants Wall of Fame: you need to play with the team for 9 seasons, or play with this team for 5 seasons and make an all-star team. I guess that's like the JT Snow rule or whatever. So Vogelsong technically qualifies because he made 17 starts over the course of 2000 and 2001, which makes up for him being called up in his first season with the Giants, playing that year and then playing 4 more after that. So they did some math, so now Vogie can make it. Yeah, but he didn't complete the 5th year because he got called up on like April 19th.
Sure.
It wasn't a 5 full seasons, so they had to kind of, he pitched 17 games in his first stint with the Giants before he left the country and or played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that they did some wonky math to get him up on the wall.
I mean, he effectively pitched the whole season in 2011. I mean, he
pitched very effectively. You're right about that.
Well, he made 28 starts. That's like, yeah, you'd have to be pretty ticky-tack to not consider that a full season for something as, unofficial as the Wall of Fame.
Oh, it's official, Danny. Don't mess around with the Wall of Fame.
I mean, they're not retiring his number. They're just, Marvin Bernard is on there.
Oh, yeah. That kind of waters it down, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Takes the ring out of it.
Well, Vogie has 2 rings, so that's good. He was a huge part of 2 World Series. I mean, even when he was diminished in 2014, he wasn't quite in his peak form like he was in 11 and 12. He still pitched 5 2/3 in that clinch game against the Nationals. I mean, you don't win that series without a good performance in that game. So, we'll always remember Vogie. You and I had him on our podcast. Great guy. His wife's a big fan of ours, Nicole Vogelsong, shout out. But, we'll miss Vogie. We'll get to see him with the Pirates and, probably be some Buster hugs. But what are your feelings on that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way you do. Vogelsong saved everything. I mean, 2011 was kind of a lost season, so it's easy to kind of forget what happened.
Well, it's good to have a good narrative like that.
Right, but 2011 was the year when the franchise came to town, and it's the year when Barry Zito had injury issues for the first time in his career, and the Giants were still competitive toward the end of the season, and that was entirely because of Vogelsong, because this guy who, against all odds, came from a career of ineffectiveness and pitched amazingly well, and really kept the Giants in it. And everything he did that year was just magical. And you look at his numbers at the end of the year, and I mean, he had a 2.71 ERA. Ryan Vogelsong, literally Ryan Vogelsong, pitched that well.
He didn't even have 271. He didn't even have 271 big league innings at that point.
Oh, not even close. And I was talking to. I remember on our show we were talking to Jonah Carey, or I think it was Jonah Carey, and we were saying is Ryan Vogelsong the best story of the year, or is he is he the biggest comeback player of the year? And he was like, he's the biggest comeback player of the decade.
He came from nothing. He was never anything, and he was already in his early to mid 30s by the time he came fully back.
He was 33 in 2011.
Wow. I still have to step back and wonder what happened in his life that he all of a sudden became so effective, I guess, as a pitcher. I guess you just have to have a pedigree. Well, let's move on from that because there's another quick hit for the Giants. Freddie Sanchez officially retires. He has not played since June of 2011, I guess. Ryan Vogelsong might have started the last game that Freddie Sanchez played in a baseball uniform. What's your best memory of Freddie?
It's got to be the 3 doubles against Cliff Lee.
That's like 3 home runs for Freddie Sanchez. I mean,
Game 1 of the World Series against the Rangers.
The unhittable Cliff Lee, right? The unhittable Cliff Lee.
Yeah, he had something like a .8 ERA in the playoffs up to that point, and that was the story. As well, Cliff Lee's going to win 2 games, and then let's see if they can just carve out another 2 wins somehow. And Tim Lincecum against Cliff Lee, pitcher's duel for the ages.
11-8 or 11-9 or something.
And
weird game.
His first 3 at-bats, Freddie doubled off of him. And that really just kind of helped shatter the image that this guy was untouchable. And the Giants went on to, obviously went on to win, but also went on to hit him well and take down what was a really good pitching staff.
My favorite is the graphic when they melt 2010 Freddie Sanchez into 2012 Marco Scudero into 2014 Joe Panic and be like, where do we keep getting these second basemen? These guys aren't supposed to be this good, and they're all playoff heroes. Panic hit that home run against, who did we even play? That was the Washington series, maybe. Hit that big home run. Marco Scudero, of course, hit everything the Cardinals threw at him in that one series, all for a single.
He batted 500 in the NLCS.
And they were all singles, and it was fantastic. We'll always have that rain moment. All right, Chad, I'm going to throw this to you because you want to be a baseball announcer.
Yeah, that's my dream.
You're not going to do that ever because no one gets to live their dream, trust me.
I hope not.
No, you're going to be fantastic. But Fox has redone their booth a little bit. Their national broadcast is still going to be Joe Buck, but they've kicked out Harold Reynolds and writer Tom Verducci and said, thanks, guys, but no thanks. And they're bringing in John Smoltz. Does that do anything for you?
I mean, I think they're just avoiding the problem and keeping the problem in the booth still with Buck. But that's the dead horse that everybody loves to beat. So
can we just let him do football? Yeah, can he just do football? Because he's fine at football.
Yeah, he's not bad. It's just with baseball. He makes baseball boring.
Well, and he makes every fan base think he hates them.
And I thought it was just the Giants for the longest time, but it's literally everywhere.
Not every non-Cardinals fan base thinks that Joe Buck hates their team.
There's a subreddit that's called I Hate Joe Buck, and it's just fans from all these MLB, every sport teams just hating on him, and it's just amazing. But no, it doesn't really change it too much for me. I don't like watching those big games unless it's the Giants. I can't watch. I find it a lot easier to find some random radio station and listen to a game than watch it on TV.
But it's important because it's the World Series, though, Danny.
Absolutely. I listened to the Blue Jays feed for a lot of the playoffs this year.
Oh, that's sad.
It was awesome. It was excellent. I mean, I was at work and I was listening to the Blue Jays game.
Did you have to sing the Canadian national anthem first?
Well, no, I tuned in the 3rd inning. But.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy Harold Reynolds is gone because I've never seen anyone who used to play a sport who knew so little about what was going on the field, or at least wasn't able to convey any of that information to me. I learn things every day from most color commentators in baseball. You know, Mike Krukow, I learned so much about pitching and about hitters' approaches.
Well, we're spoiled.
Well, yeah, we are spoiled, but even when I watch other games, you know, I learn stuff. Harold Reynolds never taught me anything. He taught me how to make a point and then completely undermine my own point 2 minutes later, which is not good radio.
Yeah, Joe Buck, though, I will have to say, is a great disparity between how he is in the booth and how he is on Twitter. Because on Twitter, he's pretty hilarious.
Well, yeah, it's easy to be a troll when people want you to be a troll, so you just play into that. Yeah. All right, we're going to do our NFL picks coming up. Danny, you got one more point?
Well, is Smoltz, I mean, one thing that we've learned is that being a good player does not mean you're going to be a good announcer, right? Harold Reynolds was a good player. Kurt Schilling was a good player.
Steve Tasker is a bad football player, and he was a good announcer.
Dwayne Kuiper was a bad player, and now he's, you know, one of the best announcers in the world.
And he's not even a color guy. He's a play-by-play guy. That's the most amazing thing, that Dwayne Kuiper, former second baseman, Indians and Giants, has such a great voice that he's not just doing the color commentary. He has the call, you know, and that's amazing to me.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it might just be, we might just be kicking the can down the road. I mean...
What does that mean?
I mean,
that expression.
What am I trying to say? Throwing Joe Morgan under the bus. Not Joe Morgan. You know what I mean.
Harold Reynolds, yeah.
The other terrible announcer. You know, getting rid of him to show that they're doing something. But we'll see. Hopefully it'll work out. Hopefully it'll be better. And hopefully we'll be moving toward an era where, you know, they actually get rid of bad announcers.
Yeah, but it's like quarterbacks in the NFL. There just aren't enough good announcers to spread among all these telecasts. That's why we have the Chad Oklin-Jolins of the world.
Yeah, because, you know, the good can only go to so few.
Yeah, that's an expression I don't know either. All right, well, we're going to end this segment, and we're going to go to our second sponsor break before we do NFL picks, because our NFL picks are brought to you by Woodstock's Pizza, located in downtown Santa Cruz, 710 Front Street. They also have 6 other locations all across California, a couple in San Diego, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, Chico, and Davis. They all have booze. Or at least beer. They all have delicious pizza and the NFL Sunday Ticket, which is so clutch these days, especially in the Bay Area, when you have to sit in your house and watch the 49ers and watch the Raiders instead of a better game. You know, the Pats are on, the Packers are on, the Seahawks are on, the Broncos are on. You can't watch any of those games, but you can at Woodstock's Pizza because they have the NFL Sunday Ticket, and they'll be showing every playoff game up and down, full coverage. It's going to be awesome. I love winter time at Woodstock's. It's cold outside, but it's warm in the store, and there's football on, and you can't ask for anything better than that. Let's get to our NFL picks. Let's welcome into the studio Victoria Feeney, also known as Producer Tory. How are you?
Not too bad, because I went 5-1.
Here we go.
5-1.
Oh, no.
5-1.
It lives, Danny. It lives. Well, Chad's going to make some picks with us today. He's not invested in the pick pool, so consider yourself a winner because you're not losing to this broad.
I always consider myself a winner.
Oh, I like the swag. All right, so you did 5-1. I went like 1-5.
You went 2-4.
2-4, okay.
And Danny went 3-3.
All right. Have you overtaken me as far as sheer wins? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well,
no, but Thomas, you and I are tied now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You were straight tied.
Oh, how the mighty have become less mighty. I really need to work on my expressions. Okay, so some picks for this week. Well, I'm going to do this in a funky order. I change this every week because I want to throw you guys off. I want to talk about the key playoff races, and we'll see if we pick those games. A couple of them we have to pick. So let's start with the NFC East because it's completely up for grabs. Let's not start there. We're going to get to that. Sorry. The AFC wildcard race is where we're going to start because there are 3 teams vying for 2 spots, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and the Jets. I want you right now, Chad Oklin-Jolin, to pick 2 of those teams. Who makes the playoffs?
Jets and Kansas City.
No Pittsburgh.
No Pittsburgh.
That's crazy talk because that's the team everybody's scared of.
I'm not too scared of them.
I think Pats fans are shaking in their boots right now thinking about having to play the Steelers.
Yeah, it's because the Steelers have been there before, and that always makes them scary. But
on the high-flying passing attack.
It's not like they have a lot. They've been apart, though. Big Ben's been out for a lot. You have to think they're missing some timing. I think it's going to come back to bite them. That's just me.
Okay, so Danny, Kansas City has the tiebreak over both Pittsburgh and the Jets, and Pittsburgh has the tiebreak over New York. Do you agree with Chad?
I think Kansas City's definitely going to make it. And in terms of Pittsburgh, I think you have to be scared of them no matter what.
Well, they have an elite quarterback, and they have the best wide receiver in football. And you never know what can happen on a Sunday or a Saturday, I guess, in the playoffs. Well, let's pick some games then. Browns getting 13 against the Chiefs. Chiefs have won 8 straight. Tory, I know you want the points.
It'd be the Chiefs.
So you're taking the Chiefs?
I'd take the Chiefs.
Did you take the Chiefs?
No, I didn't take the Chiefs.
See, I thought you'd go for another. I saw all the 13-plus point spreads and thought you might like those.
I rolled pretty high last week, but they were smart high rolls.
She took plus 14 and minus 14 and minus 14.5. She rolled big, and they both won.
Seahawks and Pats, man.
All right, this one I'm going to pick Patriots against the Jets. Pats giving 3.5. I eat this game up. Patriots minus 3.5.
Also took the Pats.
You took the Pats as well? Okay.
I want the Jets to make it to the playoffs so bad.
Why?
But because I still have a deep love for the Jets, even though they're not my team anymore. But
I lost everything for him after Rex Ryan left. Every reason to watch the Jets or care about him was gone.
Todd Bowles is supposed to be a good guy, right?
Yeah, he's no Rex Ryan, though.
Well, and the Jets making it to the playoffs is dependent on whether or not they can beat the Pats. And, God, I hate the Pats, but I just don't know if the Jets can do it.
I think this is an easy one, unless the Patriots do that thing where they're like, we don't need to win, on to next week.
See, but that they might, and that's why I didn't take this game.
Yeah, I love the epic Jets collapse. Their fans are never allowed to be happy, so I think that's why I'm picking against them, and why I was surprised that Chad picked them for the playoffs. Steelers minus 10.5 over the Ravens. They're going to win this game, right?
Yeah.
That's a piece of cake.
So they're going to win, but I don't know if they're going to cover, and that's why I didn't take it either.
Okay, cool. And then there's the big game of the week. Capital T, capital B, capital G. Cardinals-Packers. Pack getting 4.5. Danny, do you have some analysis for this game?
Yeah, I took the Cardinals. I think that there's something wrong with the Packers' offense. I mean, as you can clearly see, but I don't think it's going to resolve anytime soon. I think what they need is Jordy Nelson, and he's not coming back. So
we mean like a free hashtag free Aaron Rodgers moment?
I mean, the Cardinals are going to be a little hamstrung without Honey Badger, but I think they're going to be able to keep the Packers down pretty well, and the Cardinals are going to be able to score much more easily against the Packers D than the other way around.
Okay, Chad, make a pick here.
I'm going Pack. You know, just because I love Aaron Rodgers, I don't see him having 2 games that bad in a row or in that rapid succession.
He's had 4 or 5.
Yeah, but he's got to turn it around. It could just be my blind California fandom, but Aaron Rodgers, you got to love Aaron Rodgers. I can't see him doing it bad again, and I'd like to see him beat the Cardinals.
Chad Oklin-Jolin with the California love. Tory, did you pick that game?
No.
All right. My other wild card pick. Let's get our wild card picks out of the way. I took Rams plus 13.5. Seattle's locked into a wild card spot, and they play Zona next week. So I think they're going to.
Don't say Zona. You're not Bill Simmons, and you're not talking about
he wishes
the
he
University
was.
of Arizona.
Danny, we talked about how I was going to call them Zona.
Nobody says Zona. Don't say Zona. Don't say Frisco.
It's like when people call it Frisco.
It's a legal defense in the league now, the Zona defense. So, yeah, Seattle's going to overlook them, playing Arizona next week, or Era, I guess I'll just call them because I can't call them Zona.
You think they're going to play Zona or more mana?
I think they're going to play 2 mana deep. Danny, what's your other wild card pick?
My other pick is Panthers minus 7.
Killer Cam.
Hashtag you can't make this line high enough.
Danny, that's going to be your official hashtag. I want to see that in your Twitter bio coming up. Tory?
This is going to be terrible. Someone had to lead the AFC South, so why not the Texans?
You love the Texans.
But seriously, though. But either way, the Titans are bad and the Texans are...
What's the spread in that one? I'm looking at
Titans getting 3.5.
That's not enough points.
Yeah.
Titans are trying to get the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, that's definitely not enough points.
Last time you said that they won a game.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to curse my Titans fans.
Oh, they're still number 1 pick though.
Okay, because the Browns are trying. Chad, should the 49ers be trying to get the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, at this point, I don't see any reason in even putting a team out there on the field.
Well, they couldn't beat A.J. McCarron, so that's beyond that.
I heard that was the first Alabama quarterback to win in a game since like the 1980s.
Oh my goodness! I was going to say since Joe Namath, but that might be too far back. Thursday night's game. All these games we have to pick. There are 4 primetime games this week. Joaquin complains this is why we lose so many games, because we pick these primetime games. San Diego in Oakland in the Get Me the Hell Out of My Home City Bowl. Raiders -5.5. Danny.
I took the Chargers. I think that it's a Thursday, so I'll take the points. I don't think either team is going to do all that much offensively, and the Raiders might win this, but it would probably be on a Sebastian Janikowski field goal more than, seeing them blow out the Chargers.
You should predict like an Amari Cooper field goal or something, just to really have something out there.
Or maybe they'll try to kick, but the long snapper will be injured, and they'll go for 2, and then Amari will just say, we'll just try to throw it through the uprights, and they'll be like, Amari, you can't do that.
No, that's exciting radio, Danny. Thank you, Chad.
I'm going with the Raiders. I like the Raiders. I like what Carr's doing down there.
You're such a homer.
And I hate the Raiders. The Raiders are my least favorite franchise in the NFL. Let's get that out there right now.
Okay.
But I do like Derek Carr, and they're finally moving in the right direction. And, maybe I am a homer at least a little bit, because it's nice to see him doing well after doing bad for so long.
I agree with you.
AC/DC.
I don't
Horrible
understand.
band. Amari Cooper, Derek Carr.
Got you.
The band AC/DC is
you hate AC/DC.
right up there with Heart for me as the classic rock bands that I just cannot stand.
Everybody has them. Everyone has them.
Everybody loves Heart. Come on.
I love their ballad, Alone. I can listen to that song and sing it into my hairbrush in my bedroom all day, but I cannot listen to any of their actual rock hits. Crazy on You,
Barracuda.
Magic Man. Barracuda's okay, but Crazy on You and Magic Man drive me absolutely crazy, as does You Shook Me All Night Long.
You don't want to be thunderstruck?
I do in some senses. I kind of like TNT. That's an okay song. But every time You Shook Me All Night Long comes on, I kind of think the beginning to Sweet Child of Mine is about to play, which is a far superior song.
Oh, yeah.
And then I forget that, no, this is not how it starts. This is stupid AC/DC.
This show would probably be better if we shot at Thrill more often.
Yo.
I hate you so much, Danny. Well, Chad's going to be back in black because he picked the Raiders.
I am also back in black.
Tori's back in black. That's it?
I picked the Chargers. I told you that.
Probably the last game at the Coliseum, so they're going to bring it.
Okay. All right, I'm going to take...
And it's the last game of Charles Woodson's career in the Oakland Coliseum.
Do you hear that they're going to let him play receiver and returner?
Are they really?
I saw it on Bleacher Report today. They were thinking about putting him at receiver and returner.
Returner, I understand. Receiver?
Whatever,
goodness.
let him do it.
18-year career, 65 picks. I think he gets 66 against the Chargers, but I don't think the Raiders blow them out. They haven't covered a 5.5-point spread since Week 8 against the Jets. They don't beat anybody by that much, at least in the current iteration of the team. So I'm going to take the Chargers. Moving on to Saturday, Chad, we warned you about this. The Jabronis at the Eagles.
The Jabronis.
For the division. Washington getting 3. The Jabs, man. The Jabs. What are you taking in this game?
I just want to say, first off, it always seems like the NFC East is just some random toss-up that comes down to Week 16 or 17 every single year, which is ridiculous.
Which is what the NFL wants.
That's why we call it the NFC least.
The NFL,
but it does great ratings. People love these teams.
Yeah, and it's really trying to pick one of these two teams. It's ridiculous. So it's
you like that?
So the Jabrownies and the Eagles.
The Jabronis.
The Jabronis.
They're not a Girl Scout troop.
The Jabrownies. Sorry, I'm sorry. I got your made up name incorrect. But I'm gonna go with the Jabronis.
Okay, getting 3 points, Tory.
Took the Jabronis.
Oh, I like that. I'm taking the Jabronis as well. And the points, they're going to win the division when they win this game. Football is insane. Me and my cousins, you and your cousins. Danny, who do you pick?
Sweep it.
Sweep it.
Yeah, if Washington wins this, they get the division. And I think they come out swinging. And I still don't think Philadelphia's that good.
I don't think Philadelphia thinks they're that good.
Chip Kelly did a number on that team.
That fan base has to be... That's an insane
fan base is never happy
with.
either, though.
Yeah, but they have to be, shaving their heads because their hair's falling out, kind of unhappy.
I'm calling it now, though. Jabronis are going to get pummeled by the Seahawks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Whoever makes the playoffs against the Seahawks is going to get pummeled by them because they're playing excellent right now.
What if it's in Washington, though?
It doesn't matter. It's Russell Wilson versus Kirk Cousins.
Well, I mean, which Washington?
Oh, that's very good, Tory. Seattle, Washington versus DC.
Yeah, okay.
Her face was priceless on that one. Moving on to Sunday night's game, Giants at Vikings. No ODB in this game. I'm going to check an updated line to see if that's changed at all.
Yeah, no, they upheld the suspension.
Yeah, they upheld the suspension.
It is now Vikings minus 5.5. I'll start. The Giants weren't a playoff team with Odell Beckham Jr. They certainly aren't one without him. I'll lay the points and take the Vikings. Danny.
I'm taking the Vikings. I think that, Ruben Randall's not going to lead this team to victory. And
I like him because he has two first names, Randall Ruben, Ruben Randall. I can dig on that.
And it's looking like Adrian Peterson and some of the injured guys on the Vikings defense are going to come back. So I think that, I think Teddy B is going to carry them to victory.
Teddy B. Chad O.J. I'm
picking not the Giants, so definitely going to go the other way on this one with the Vikings.
Poor Eli Tory.
Take the Giants.
This game, yeah, I'm taking the points. That's pretty much it. I mean, this game would be a coin flip. Well, it is a coin flip because the Vikings have one of the worst pass defenses, which would be great if Odell wasn't suspended.
Is that research? Did you do some research?
Yeah, I did research. They have one of the worst pass defenses, which would be great if they had Odell, but they don't. So coin flip.
Danny, what does your research consist of? Because mine is basically staring at the screen until one of the lines coalesces in my brain.
Well, I did more than you today because I figured out what Mike League's contract was correctly.
I know. I screwed that up totally. You fixed it, though, and thank you for not calling me out on it during the show. It's really appreciated.
The
show's not over, Danny. We got 12 more minutes. Monday night, our final primetime game. Brock Osweiler giving 3.5 points to A.J. McCarron in a game of two playoff teams, apparently, the Bengals and Broncos.
I'm sure that's what the schedulers were trying to schedule, Osweiler against McCarron.
That's what they wanted. Yeah, they wanted to get Alabama quarterbacks some more wins. We're going to start with you, Danny.
I'm going with Broncos. I think that this was probably the hardest one that I had to choose today, but I think the slightly less crappy backup quarterback who actually has a really good defense is going to take it.
Chad?
So, Broncos.
I'm going to go with the Bengals. No real reason if you want the honest answer, just because, I think the Bengals are going to come out. Brock Osweiler is a joke. Let's be real. I'm sorry.
You don't like the Brock Lobster?
I do not like the Brock Lobster. He's not one of my friends, not someone I want to root for.
Not a fan of Brocktoberfest?
Definitely not.
First of all, he's too young to drink at Brocktoberfest. He's too young to know obscure B-52 songs. So he's really out on Brock Osweiler. Tory?
I literally wrote Bengals, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's my thought process.
I think Chad's just reading off Tory's sheet. Found out she was 5-1 last week. Just reading off her sheet.
Probably doing something right.
The Bengals got a free win against the 49ers last week. They scored 24 points despite getting 242 yards on offense. That's ridiculous. McCarron has got to do better against a tough defense. Give me the Bronx. That's a pretty easy one right there. Well, those are our NFL picks. Tory, can you read our wild cards real quick?
Our wild cards are we're both taking the Pats. You're taking the Rams, I'm taking the Texans, and Danny is taking the Cardinals and the Panthers.
Danny playing the NFC favorites. How you feeling, Danny?
I'm feeling good. I kind of mix up my strategy every few weeks, and this time I'm going with good teams that I think are going to win handily and bad teams that are not going to lose by that much.
Wow, that's a very good strategy. It took you 15 weeks to land on it, but I like it. All right, well, our last sponsorship break, you can help out our show by going to fanatics.com and fansedge.com. But before you do that and buy some sports merchandise from them, you need to go to coachesdecisionksco.com, and every football pick poll we have, or pick post, we have a link to those two sites. If you click through us, it will really help out our show. They'll kick us back some cash, keep this show afloat. That's fanatics.com and fansedge.com. But please first go to coachesdecisionksco.com and click through. Lots of good merchandise there. I still want a Draymond Green jersey. Someone get that for me. I may have to get that for me if no one does. Okay, Tori's...
Treat yourself.
I will treat myself. Thank you. Tori is in studio already. She has her topics. Danny, do you want to stay on the line or do you want to go home?
I like Tory topics.
You like Tory topics. All right, we're going to go with a 4-person Tory topic today. What do you got?
Okay, we're going to rewind back to last week because I just got to talk about the Panthers taking a team photo during the 2-minute warning.
Dude. Do you think that made Odell Beckham mad? He's just anti-selfie.
He was already mad.
He was already mad. Chad, what did you think about this?
They just took a picture?
2 minutes left in the game. They took a team photo on the sideline.
That's disrespectful, but I mean,
they're winning by 30, right?
Swag.
Aside from, I mean, if you're getting killed by that, I mean, that's just a bad situation to be put in. But I would be salty if I was the other team. But
if Darren Woodson was in that game, he would have busted up that picture. Would have been the ultimate photo bomb. Would have been a photo dive bomb because he famously tackled T.O. on the Star.
Yeah,
he would have none of that. If Rodney Harrison was still playing, he would have got every personal foul in the world.
J.J. Watt?
Oh, J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt hates selfies.
It would have been like the Incredible Hulk. He would have just been picking people up and throwing them places.
He would have just hit one side of the picture and just watched the domino effect go through.
All right, Tory.
All right, so Festivus Ezeli took to social media today to wish everyone a happy Festivus.
Oh, my goodness. Playing into his own hype.
Yep.
I love Ezeli. He's so good.
I think he is the Festivus pole. It was not a pornographic joke this time. He's tall and skinny.
All basketball players are.
Oh, no. Robert Tractor Trailer. We got Boris Booby Diaw.
On average.
There's a history of fat basketball players.
Porzingis. Shaq.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Glenn Big Baby Davis. Still wearing a diaper out there.
Speaking of Shaq, Dirk Nowitzki is now the number 6 scorer in NBA history, knocking out Shaq.
Wow. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
It's impressive to see how Dirk's done it. He was one of the first, back to the basket big men, or not back to the basket big men, rather.
Right.
Where
the ultimate stretch four.
Yeah, and he's been doing it forever. His game never really changed. He's kind of got that, like we were mentioning about Tim Duncan, where you just kind of forget about him and you look and, he's still putting up 20 and 10. Okay, he's still Dirk.
I'm working on my Dirk shot, the one where he kind of spins the wrong way off one foot. I mean, I have no form with the hands, but I'm starting with the feet and getting the footwork down.
He looks uncoordinated, so it makes it feel like you can do it, but then you try and do it and you're like, wow, you're not graceful compared to the 7-footer trying to do it.
My favorite story, and I think I brought this up on the show last week or the week before, a trivia question: what did Dirk Nowitzki do immediately upon winning the NBA championship?
I don't know.
He ran off the floor to smoke a cigarette.
Really?
Because he's big and he's German, and that's what he wanted to do. He couldn't smoke during the season because it's bad for his health, but he won that title. He beat the Heat and just needed a nice couple drags, like post-coitus, just to get him back to normal so he could do interviews without sounding like Kevin Garnett. Anything is possible! Or however you say that in German. All right, Tory.
All right, so Jose Canseco wants to nuke Mars.
Danny, this is you.
Yeah, I saw this.
Let's hear him out for science. For science.
It's for your health.
So, Jose Canseco wants to nuke the Mars ice caps.
Why?
To try to kickstart the planet's atmosphere.
Yeah, create an atmosphere.
Can I just say, Jose Canseco is officially my favorite Elon Musk impersonator.
He's
awesome.
He's a player who has been around scientists his whole career. Wink, wink, poke, poke, if you know what I'm talking about. But I don't think he understands how planets work.
Did he really?
I'd also like to point out that his most recent tweet, sent 11 hours ago, is, I have discovered that dogs will eat spaghetti once and throw it up 4 times. So I don't think he's one of our great scientific minds of this era.
Whereas I eat spaghetti 4 times and throw it up once. We could just do a whole show reading Jose Canseco's most recent. We should have that.
It's gonna be my next Tory topics.
Yeah, it'll be a segment. Like if Tory's you're gonna be on vacation sometime next month. Danny and I'll just read Jose Canseco's Twitter feed.
I like this. I like
this.
this.
One of the most recent ones is asking some guy if he can have his sweater back. He also said, "Hug for you, Lindsey Graham."
Okay.
Good for you. Good for you, Canseco.
All right. So speaking of weirdos, continuing to be the NFL's weird uncle, Rex Ryan on Kellen Moore. Well, the first thing that jumps out at you, he's a little bitty dude, and then he's throwing with the wrong hand.
Is he left-handed?
It's the guy from Boise State, right?
Yeah.
Kellen Moore? Yeah, okay.
So he's left-handed, I guess, is why he's throwing with the wrong hand?
Yeah, I guess.
Is this like when what was the basketball player who recently switched hands shooting free throws? Can't remember who. It was one of the big guys who was like, oh, yeah, sorry, I was shooting with the wrong hand. And now he's making 20% more free throws.
What is he, Inigo Montoya?
DeAndre Jordan should try that.
He should try shooting with his feet.
Mathematically, it wouldn't be worse. I don't know.
I really want Madison Bumgarner to do that in the middle of a World Series.
Switch hands?
Just shut out the team with his left hand and then say, well, I'll pitch again tomorrow. I'm not left-handed.
What was that guy's name on the A's? Vendetti? Vendetti? Chad, you don't know how to pronounce people's names.
Yeah, I do. You know how many German and Russian names you see from hockey? Goodness.
Okay, fair enough.
And trying to broadcast a football game against Hawaii? Yeah, good luck. There's like 6 apostrophes per name.
But it's all phonetic.
It's not. It's all phonetic, but when you're looking at it and every single word has 17 vowels, you're like, well.
I was watching football, and Greg Gumbel had to say Ho Manawa Nui, because we always say Hu Manawa Nui, but then there's the what do you call it, the diacritical mark in there, so it's Ho Omanawa Nui. Chad's rubbing his eyes like I picked the wrong profession.
Yeah, this is difficult.
I remember Chris Fuamatu Ma'afala, the running back for the Pittsburgh
People
Steelers.
Get mad, too. If you announce the wrong names, like I've had people on Twitter start yelling at me. It's not good.
I get people call. I said the Niners were playing a different team, and like someone called, and I was like, well, clearly I just said the wrong team.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
You don't need to correct me. I'm not going to sit there on Sunday waiting for the Niners to play the Cardinals when they're playing the Seahawks.
Oh, it must not be happening. It's the wrong game.
I'm not stupid. It's just human. All right, Tory.
All right, so it's been a while. Here's my gratuitous Kings comment.
Go on, Kings.
Instagram video showing Vlade teaching Boogie how to flop. It's true. It does exist. The Divac school of flopping is real.
Oh, man. They outlawed that because of players like Vlade. Danny, you're the ultimate. Actually, you're the opposite of a flopper in basketball. You attack the shooter.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I'm terrible about calling fouls when they happen to me.
Well, that's a big guy thing. You know, you just get abused because your arms are so much higher than everybody else's. But I remember playing basketball with you for the first time, and I was driving to the lane, and your defense is to put your arms, cross arms at your chest and thrust your large body into me. And I was like, Danny, stop doing that. A, it hurts, and B, that's a foul in that order.
And it worked.
Okay, well, we've lost Chad Oklin-Jolin because apparently the big leagues are calling. Tory, let's give another topic.
Swaggy P wants to be Kanye's vice president in the 2020 presidential run.
Is he old enough? Will he be 35 by then?
I don't think so.
You didn't look that up? How old is Kanye?
Maybe 35?
I mean, I guess
probably 35 by 2020.
Probably already closer to 40 already. I don't know. Danny, Swaggy P?
Kanye is 38.
38. How old is Nick Young?
Young.
You've got your computer much closer.
He is 30.
Okay, so in 20... Yeah, I guess he'll just be turning 35. Okay, I support this ticket as long as Jay-Z's Secretary of State and Beyonce's Secretary of the Exterior. Oh, come on, I thought that was good. All right, well, that's our show. Thank you to Daniel Zarchi for coming on the show. You can find him on Twitter, @GiantsPod. We're going to cut you now, Danny. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you to Tory, of course, producer Tory. Thank you to Chad Oklin-Jolin for coming and co-hosting, filling in for Joaquin. My name is Thomas Todd. You can find me on Twitter, @GiantsTodd. You're listening to Coach's Decision on KSCO Radio, 1080 AM, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey.